Hey YouTube, I'm Rebecca and welcome to my channel Beck Treks Australia. Today on this video I'm going to be talking about the Overland Track and just giving you a rough overview on some planning and prep work you can do before, things like expenses, a little bit of information about the trail, just some basic information for yourself. First of all, I'm going to discuss how to get to Tasmania, Australia. There's only two options of getting there. That's to either get the Spirit of Tasmania, catch the boat, the ferry over from Melbourne, or you can catch a plane over from any of the major cities in Australia. So I'm going to firstly start off talking about the flights. So you can expect flights from Melbourne to Devonport to be approximately $500 for two people. That is with Tiger Air economy with one bag, 15 kilos or less. With that option, you then have to use public transport or rely on bus services, shuttles, or even rent your own car while you're there. Car rentals are about $55 a day for the stock, for the basic car. Alternatively, you can catch the ferry, the Spirit of Tasmania. I've booked myself in March to get over with my four-wheel drive. I'm going to be going over during the day. It is quite a long distance to be travelling. The boat departs at 9 o'clock in the morning and arrives at 6:30 p.m. And I've also booked a cabin for myself so that I'm not having to sit on a recliner for that amount of time. It's the same with the return trip. I've actually gone overnight this time. It departs at 7:30 and it arrives at 6 a.m. in the morning, and definitely I had a cabin booked for that time round. The cost, I'm going over with my partner, so the cost of travelling across on the boat return is $1,135. That is with the vehicle, two people. That is return, and that includes the cost of the cabin each way. The cabins were about an extra $100 each way approximately. I think that's the way to go. If you plan it right, you could actually save yourself a night's of accommodation in Devonport. So on that, the trail, it does start at Ronnie Creek and it travels south down to Lake St Clair. Now to get to the northern terminus, you do need to go to the Cradle Mountain Visitor Centre. They provide a shuttle service frequently. It's about a 7-kilometre drive, otherwise down to Ronnie Creek, the starting terminus. So what I'm going to do is leave my car at the Lake St Clair Visitors Centre. I'll have my park pass displayed there. And on that note, park passes $60 for 8 weeks pass to all the parks in Tasmania. I think that's the best option if you're going two people. Otherwise, you can go one person without a vehicle. I think that's $30. So that's, to me, that's the best option you can go for. So yes, I'm leaving my vehicle at the Lake St Clair Visitors Centre. And then I'm organising a bus to pick me up, drop me off at the Cradle Mountain Visitor Centre, and then from there I'll pick that regular shuttle up and get to Ronnie Creek and start my hike. So that way, if I finish a day or two early or late, I'm not having to sync up with pre-booked bus schedules. I just arrive, jump in my car, and then off I go, probably back to Devonport and go to a hotel or even a caravan park and stay the night. So on top of that $60 parks fee, there is actually a fee for hiking the Overland Track if you hike between the 1st of October and the 31st of May, peak season. This is just so they can regulate how many people are on the track, and I guess the funds go towards maintaining the trail. So that's $200 per person, so me and my partner, $400 plus the $60 plus the $1,100 to get over on the ferry. It's not a cheap trail to do, considering it's only 7 days long, but it is a world-class trail in an alpine environment. So I think it's well worth every dollar spent there. So on that, you must hike north to south in peak seasons. Out of these dates, you can hike either direction you like. There's no fee. You still obviously have to pay the park pass fee. So just a little bit of information about the trail itself. It is in the Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area. It is about 62.5 kilometres long. and that will take 6 days approximately. If you wish to spend another day out there, which I personally would recommend, you can do an extra 17.5 kilometres. That makes you walk around Lake St Clair through a rainforest environment, as opposed to catching the ferry across Lake St Clair, which seems to also be a popular option. So if you want to go for that extra day, I recommend doing that hike around the lake. And apparently I hear it is well worth doing. There are obviously a lot of options for side trails. I'll cover this in another video, but depending on what you choose will obviously affect how long each hiking day is. So before you hike, I highly recommend that you buy the TasMap Cradle Mountain Lake St Clair map here. It's got all the information you need, and paired with a free download off the internet, I printed this into a little booklet. It's just the trail walk notes, which are very useful, which outline days, how long each day's distances are, what the side trails are each day, and your options, and the sort of the weather requirements. So the maximum distance for any one day is 17.5 kilometres. That's the last day. Other than day 4, you're doing 16 kilometres. They're the longest days. However, apparently the first day, 10.9 kilometres, is the hardest day, as you are climbing and you're gaining a lot of elevation. So the last thing I have to mention is just the weather. Obviously this has a great impact on your equipment, your clothing decisions. You are in an alpine and very exposed environment on the Overland Trail. I'm expecting, because it's March, just based on averages over the previous years, a maximum of about 17 degrees, a minimum of about 4.5 degrees, and probably a bunch of rainfall, with the average about 107 mils for the whole month. And that concludes my video. On that note about the weather, I'll lead into my next video, which will be about the clothing I will be taking and wearing on the Overland Track. So please like and subscribe below if you'd like to be updated as I release my next videos.